Hey, good morning, Eastern Oregon, and welcome to the September 16th version of AM Live on EOA. Your connection to Eastern Oregon, we're glad that you are here with us today. So if you want to find our content and you go to the best place to do that is go to EOA.network. That takes you to a link tree where you can find the location of our Facebook, Roku, website, all and places where this podcast will end up after we get done. And there's a place where, if you want to help support us, you enjoy our content, but you're not a sponsor. As you know, this content is made available because of businesses and sponsors that advertise on the show, but maybe you're just sitting at home and you enjoy it. There's a place where that you can chip some funds towards us and contribute to what it is we do. Glad you're here with us. Here in just a little bit, we're going to have Steve West is going to bounce in for a couple minutes and talk to us about an event that's coming up. How are you, man?
I'm good.
Yeah.
I'm good. It's second Monday. We're there. But a lot of people were watching on Roku the football game on Friday night. A lot.
Yeah.
I know for sure because I had people messaging me outside of Facebook.
Yeah.
And they're like, I'll just message you on here. I'm not going to get on Facebook and on Roku at the same time.
Yeah. No, we were watching it on Roku at home, but I had the Facebook feed open to see the comments too. Yeah.
That's a lot of people are doing that.
Yeah.
It works. I mean, Roku, all you have to do is just search EOA Live. You'll see our green logo, and you can click on it, and then you're there. I mean, it's free.
It's an app. You have to download our app and then all of the stuff that we do. And it's a great place to find our stuff on demand, too, because there are different below the live stream, there are different categories of, like the AM live show, recent, the sports shows, which you've been doing a ton of interviews. Man.
Well, it's this time of year.
Yeah.
You look in, like, history.
Yeah.
The fall is, like, the time where I really hammer it out.
Yeah.
I released 2 on Sunday, actually. No, 2 on Monday. 2 more come out today.
Yeah.
And then I still have 7 or 8 in the can that I got to get out.
Yeah.
I'll like do a few, and then I'll just be like, oh gosh, man, I'm sick of editing. I don't want to look at this. Take a break for a little while. Do a couple. Yeah, I got two high school soccer players coming in today.
Cool.
Yeah, and my goal is to do all the high school senior fall sports athletes. Mm-hmm. I don't know if I'm going to get them all, though, because there's a lot of football players, and I tried doing that once, and it killed me.
Yeah.
I was really
I kind of remember,
done for. Yeah, and so I have soccer done. I have boys soccer done. I don't have them out yet, and I'm right in the middle of finishing girls soccer, so we'll see, where it goes from there. But yesterday, the interviews that came out were EOU volleyball, and then today is EOU football.
Cool.
Yeah. Good
stuff. Do you like connecting with the younger kids like that? I mean,
it helps. So
younger kids, man, it makes me sound so old.
It gives me a better understanding of what's going on. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Because a lot of times we'll talk off camera.
Yeah.
And I'll get like some stuff maybe that I wouldn't, that they might not want the whole world to know about. You know what I mean? So it gives me a little bit better connection there, and it helps for taking pictures too if they know me. It kind of helps both ways. Like the pictures help me get them to the interviews, but the interviews also help me for the pictures because then they'll pose or they already know me or they'll share them or So I like it. There's a big benefit to knowing what's going on from the inside.
Yeah, for sure. Well, hey, you want to do sports?
Let's do it. And Sports Report brought to you by Hobby Habit. The Mini/4x4 is a take-anywhere powerhouse that slips easily into a backpack and delivers all-day speed and fun in just about any environment. Get down to 411 First Street in LeGrand and get your hands on one of these. You won't be disappointed, I promise you. These things are cool. Hobby Habit in LeGrand, just for the fun of it. EOU football won their home opener 16-10 over Whitworth on Saturday. It was a good game. I mean, I'm not going to say they played great. They did what they had to win, 3 field goals. a touchdown. To win in the Frontier Conference, though, this team's going to have to do more. I mean, I'm going to tell you that right now. And offensively, 16 points is not going to win you a Frontier Conference game. And so we'll see what happens this Friday. This Saturday. They have a home game again, and it's against the Frontier Conference opponent, but from the other side, so it doesn't count as a conference game. Valley City State comes to town, which is a new team in the Frontier this year. Saturday at 1 p.m. up at Community Stadium. Get up there and support these guys. EOU volleyball got two huge CCC road wins. They went down to Ashland and beat number 19 Southern on Friday night, and then they turned around and they lost as many sets as they've lost all year on Saturday against OIT. It went to 5, and EOU ended up holding them off to go to 12-0, and I mean, they're the number 1 team in the country for a reason. They're legit. Kiana Mack was named CCC Attacker of the Week, which is strange for her because she's a middle, and she's usually getting Defender of the Week, but she had a ton of kills this weekend, so she was the Conference Attacker of the Week. And Kate Stidham, whose interview came out yesterday on EOA Live, was named the CCC Setter of the Week this week. They're home this weekend. Bushnell and Corbin. It should be Corbin is always a battle. There was like 3 or 4 years in a row where Corbin and EOU met in the CCC tournament finals. Corbin's not as good this year. They're still a top 10 ranked team, so it's a huge game. EOU men's and women's soccer are both on the road this weekend. They go to Warner Pack and Walla Walla. LHS volleyball went 2-1 over the weekend in Seaside. They host Nissa on Thursday at 6 p.m. up at the high school gym. LHS girls soccer goes to the Dalles tomorrow, while the boys go to Umatilla. And then finally, LHS football lost a heartbreaker to Umatilla 33-26 on Friday night. I don't have any pics of the game because obviously I was in the booth, but I'll give the cheerleaders and the band some love. I went down before the game and at halftime and took pictures. Took some pictures of the cheerleaders and the band. The band really impressed me. I'd never seen this LeGrand band with I think they swallowed a confidence pill or something. Like, it was crazy, man. This band was out there rocking. It was really impressive. It really was. They're at home, Tigers, again this Friday. And on the OSAA schedule, it says 7, but I'm texting with Darren Goodman, the athletic director at LeGrand right now, and trying to figure it out because the high school is saying 6. As soon as I find out, I'll let you guys know. That game will be live streamed right here on the EOA Live network, and then we'll also be carrying the Baker versus Vail game on our other channel. We have 2 live channels now on the Roku app, so on Facebook, you'll just see them stacked on top of each other, on different posts. But on the Roku app, there's 2 live window channels side by side, and so you'll have LeGrand and Burns on one, Baker and Vail, which that's kind of cool actually because it's the GOL, versus the 3. I don't remember what the league they're in is called, but they're both in the same league, and they're both top 5 teams too. So I think Burns is number 1 in the state in 3A, and so LeGrand's going to have to bring their A game for sure. If you're interested in advertising during football, there's still time. Message us or send an email to office@eoalive.tv. I'll talk a little bit more about Valley and GOL football on Thursday. AM Sports Report brought to you by Hobby Habit, just for the fun of it.
Good stuff, man. Thank you.
Yep.
All right, let's take a look outside. And, man, it's pretty out there this morning. It's supposed to be a beautiful day, yeah. Except for you see the dirty camera lens there that we can't reach, but that's all right.
Send Benny up there on a stick or something.
That would be a video segment in and of itself, right?
I mean, I'd love to video that. Him on a little wobbly ladder getting up there trying to clean that.
Yeah, get you on a step stool.
Yeah,
when
I'm
you
not
get
doing
wobbly.
that. That's above my pay grade. Literally.
All right, show us the graphic here, Bennett. So 80 degrees today, 43 tonight, and then tomorrow.
Warms up.
A little bit more, but same. Yeah, and mostly, do we see any moisture there? None in the near future.
Thank goodness.
Yeah. So
We got a little dose of moisture on Sunday night.
man, it just kind of rained. It's really it was a soaker. I don't know how much.
I'm not going to be
We got-
upset if this holds on until the end of September, like this trend right here. That
Yeah.
would be all right in my book.
Those cooler nights, though, that's always a sign that fall is coming. So, yeah. Well, glad that you guys are here with us today, and we're going to take a little break. We'll be right back with Steve West. All right, we're back with Steve West, Steve's Outdoor Adventures. Steve and I have known each other for a few years now.
A long time.
Yeah. How are you, man?
Good, good. Just busy year, busy season.
Yeah.
Hunting season's underway. Our seasons really start like in early to mid-August.
Yeah.
The hunting, we have the fishing clients in the field throughout the summer, but big game starts in August, like in the Northwest Territories, Alaska, the Yukon,
Yeah.
some of the western states. And then when you get into September, obviously we go to full scale. So like right now, we're really rolling right now.
Yeah. So people know you from your TV series, Steve's Outdoor Adventures. You've been gracious enough to give us access to several of those episodes, and
Yeah.
we've shown them on our stuff. But what really kind of is your bread and butter is scheduling trips, right?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, yeah. So,
Well, Steve's Outdoor Adventures was originally like a guide and outfitter service for a
Yeah.
long time. That's how I cut my teeth in the industry. And then I transitioned into being like a hunting and fishing consultant, a booking agency. I'm like a travel agent for people who want to use outfitters and guides.
yeah.
We make sure that people, go with the right outfitter, get in the field with the right guides. Kind of like a good travel agent, make sure that you stay in the right hotel or go with the right cruise line.
Yeah. And so then are you still doing TV? Kind of tell me how your world is blended over the through the
Well,
years.
we have the media house, have some really good guys on the team, but we have the Steve's Outdoor Adventures hunting series, which is in its 24th year on television now, airing on Sportsman Channel 4 times a week. It's Outdoor Channel, Sportsman Channel, World Fishing Network. They're all owned by Stan Kroenke and Kroenke. I think it's called Kroenke Outdoor Entertainment or something, KOE. But so we were on Outdoor Channel for a long time, then transitioned to the Sportsman Channel, and it's just been a real good fit for us. And then this July we launched the new Steve's Outdoor Adventures Fishing with Wesley series, which is specifically about fishing trips. And Wesley White, a guy that works for me, is actually a very talented photographer and videographer, also happens to be a world-class fisherman. This guy could catch a steelhead in a mud hole along the Grand Ronde River just somehow, right? I mean, that's his forte, and he's quite a character. And so it was a natural transition to get him in front of the camera some of the time now, which has been really neat. So like they just returned from reconning a new area in northern British Columbia, filming a series up there. I was in Alaska filming fishing episodes, so it's not like I'm totally disconnected from it. I still host it.
Yeah.
But it's truly fishing with Wesley because he's going to be able to show people better, more advanced fishing techniques than I ever could.
Yeah. How's that transition been for him going from behind to in front of the camera?
I think pretty naturally, honestly, because he's watched me for so many years in front of the camera that he's become a pretty good field producer in his own right. So he knows what to look for when I'm in front of the camera. And then the first few trips, it was, I try to help him where I can. I'm not going to say I coach anybody up, in terms of being in front of the camera, but understanding your camera awareness, what you say, how you look at the camera, how you approach your role in front of the camera. One thing about outdoor television, hunting, fishing, it's as real of reality TV as you can get. There's, you have an outline for what you want to do that day, but really Mother Nature dictates the script. And so you really can't ever become like a character. So it's not like he has to develop a character.
Right.
He just has to be himself, and himself is quite enough for the fishing community. So.
Well, and I did editing a couple of shows for you, and it kind of changed my perspective on reality TV.
Wow.
You and I started early, and you would go do a hunt, and then you would come back and you would shoot what you call a spine. I don't know if you still,
we don't change our terminology.
Yeah, and it's essentially, and I use that term when we talk here too, because it's kind of it's you telling the story, and then like in a stand-up interview, and then you're adding the B-roll and letting the story kind of put it together in segments.
Yeah.
But when I started editing that, I remembered, and it was a bow hunt and it wasn't for you. It was one of your friends, and it was, I mean, you're assembling the pieces to make a story.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
the story's told. We
Right.
just have to tell it.
Right.
Once you just have to lay it out in the video format, and then a lot of times the spine is just narration to audio that's missing in the field.
Yeah,
and,
you're connecting it together.
Yeah, right now one of my biggest focuses individually is saying enough in the field as things are happening that we never have to put together like narration or spine again.
Right. Yeah.
Like in post, it's just already there.
Right.
If we film it in the field, it flows better. I really want people to enjoy watching the show.
Right.
And feel like they're there with us. And that's one of the reasons why it's been such a great tool for us in promoting our hunting and fishing destinations, because we're trying to take the viewer and give them the feeling that they're there with us so that they know exactly what the experience would be like. And that then generates interest for them to contact us and book that trip for themselves.
Yeah.
So
That's very cool.
yeah. But having a national audience, I mean, or I would say even a North America audience, because we are in Canada on networks in Canada too. Having a North America audience really has given us a great reach, and we've been trying to not just increase our global reach to attract customers, clients, and viewers from all over the world, but I think something that you're gonna see more from us is trying to have more of a local reach as well, like be able to have some outreach on a local level, help local businesses, help local people who want to get into the outdoor industry, help local people be more successful in the field, because we get asked a lot, and I'm like, well, I'm not going to be here. I'm generally not always here during the hunting season, but we're going to try to maybe help more or have a better call it influence locally.
Yeah. So, and you're putting together an event. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
talk to us about what's happening in
Sure.
that vein. I mean, I've watched you over the years, and you are always super generous. I mean, your heart really is where you're living. Your heart is here.
Sure.
And I've seen you do youth events, and you do a lot of stuff. But talk to us about this particular thing that you got going on there.
Well, look, I get asked a lot by people locally, hey, can you help me sight in my rifle? How do you do this? Why does this happen? Why is my gun not shooting well? Why is my bow throwing arrows all over the place? I get a lot of questions just in general, and it's hard for me to invite everybody down for like a sit down. It's like, okay, bring me your hunt rifle. What's going on with your hunt rifle? Let me see if I can help you, because it'd just be a revolving door. I'd never have time to do my actual job. And I was talking to Carl Baum at Oregon Trail Trader one time, and he said, I think it'd really be beneficial to do like a range day locally, where we invited people to come to the LeGrand Rifle and Pistol Club and help them. just do it in mass, like 1 day massive event, 2 days, whatever it might be, but put together like an event and do it right before deer season opens. And I thought, wow, man, that's actually pretty smart. I wish I had time to do that. Well, then my schedule started laying out in front of me. And Carl brought it up again. I said, I'm going to be home that weekend of September 27, 28. And I've got all my employees. For those that don't know, I own Pendleton Ammunition and the Adventure Armory. And we ship, custom hand-loaded hunting ammunition all over the United States. We ship it, we ship ready-made rifle packages, rifle scope, ammo, suppressors to hunters all over North America. We do about this much within a 100-mile radius of us. It's just, it's not a local business, because I also don't necessarily want to impact somebody like Carl's, local business, stuff like that. And ours is more of a high-end, industry. And I told him, I said, I'm going to be home that weekend. Do you want to do an event? And he said, yeah, let me talk to the club, because I think he's a chairman or the president or something. He's like really involved with the LeGrand Rifle and Pistol Club. And, and basically whatever we did there, it had to be a public service. It had to be a service provided to members and non-members, something that benefited the public, which was our only goal to begin with. And so he put together a proposal, came back to me and said, it's good, here's what we want to do. So on September 27th, we're going to run 3 sessions. And you have to RSVP for these sessions. The first session is 8 a.m. to 1 p.m. To noon. The second session is from 1 p.m. to 5 p.m. We're going to take a break from noon to 1. And then I'm going to do an after dark session from 6 to 8 p.m. called the thermal session. And what we'll do is people will RSVP. There's a limited number of openings for the morning, afternoon, and evening sessions. We can't have a free-for-all. This isn't something where we can just take 300 people at once. Mm-hmm. We're going to spread the people out over the course of the day. And then those who come in the morning session can come in, we'll help them properly sight in their rifle. We're going to have the Garmin chronographs there. We'll chronograph their ballistics, or the velocity of their ammunition. Make sure the rifle's shooting properly. If the gun's not shooting properly, we'll try to diagnose there's something wrong with the rifle, right? Or the torque settings on your rings and bases incorrect, or your action screws not torqued properly. Do you have contact between your stock and barrel? Do you need to be small? We're going to be able to do some small tweaks to the guns. They're back in the shop. We're going to do this at the 300-yard range, and there's a room there that we can put one of my team in there with a gun bench and the tools and everything to try to help people. No cost. This is free. We'll try to tweak your gun, tune it up, make it shoot better. Once again, we're going to collect the ballistic data. We've got a computer sitting right there. We're going to print out a ballistics chart for you. If you've got extra reticles in your scope, we're going to help you figure out, what's your zero, what yardage do the extra crosshairs fall in at, like a BDC reticle. I think that ballistic plex and the burriscopes, whatever it is, we're going to try and help you go into the field with that data so that you can be more efficient, more effective, more lethal. Mm-hmm. But, we're going to do all this the weekend before deer season opens, which happens to be the #1 weekend for traffic at the rifle range. And there's already an event at the 100-yard range. So the rifle range on that weekend is going to be very busy. But ours at the 300-yard range, if you're RSVP'd, we'll let you through the gate. You'll be able to come in, sign in, and then tell us what you want to do. Now, in addition to all that, I'm going to have 4 rifles, new rifle models set up for people to demo, free. Pendleton ammo on site. You can shoot these new rifle models, look at new scope models, see things that you otherwise would never get a chance to do, right? I mean, it's the weekend before hunting season. You get to sit down behind something that you've never seen before, looked through before, and see some new scope technologies, see new rifle models, actually squeeze the trigger, get some shots in, shoot all 4 models, I don't care. It's about just like outreach, right? Like come in, you can sight in your hunting rifle, get some ballistic data, then get your gun worked on free, go over to, field test these new hunting rifles. I mean, just like an all-encompassing thing. Now, we're not providing food and beverage and all of that stuff, and you do have to bring your own hearing and eye protection. Obviously, we could never have 100 sets of eye protection laying around. But we are going to have all of these services available. Additionally, if your gun is broke and it can't be fixed on site, we're going to try and come up with a way to help. If your rings are bad or you got maybe your scope's got floating crosshairs or something in it. I mean, obviously Carl's got a lot of inventory and things like that. We're also going to have suppressors on the test guns. A lot of people don't know a lot about suppressors. A lot of people don't understand it's really easy to get a suppressor now. I mean, you can have a suppressor in under a week. Like, it used to be a year. Then it was 9 months. It was getting better and better. Now the E-forms and the silencer shop kiosk, you might have a suppressor in 48 hours. I mean,
wow.
Yeah, it's amazing how some of those restrictions have relaxed to help hunters be better, not hurt our hearing. We're going to try and educate people on a one-on-one basis. I'll be there. All my employees that work in the ammo shop will be there that day. I may or may not have any of the Steve's Outdoor Adventures team there. Probably have a few photographers on site, just to shoot some photos and video of people having fun and participating in all-American activity at the rifle range on a weekend, right? So as the September 27 session fills up, then we'll talk about additional opportunities the following day or in the future. So we want to make sure we give everybody an opportunity to get out to the range with us and get properly tuned up for the hunting season.
Cool. How do they RSVP for this?
So they can call Carl Baum. Carl has a phone number that I completely forgot to get. It's a special cell phone line, but you can also call Oregon Trail Trader. I know that it's also posted. The details are posted on the LeGrand Rifle and Pistol Club page with that contact information. But yeah, it's going to be a very in-depth day. During those 2 4-hour sessions, we're going to give people a lot of attention, and we're going to try and make them far better prepared for opening day of deer season than they ever have been before. About thermal scopes, yeah. So we've really made a big industry out of taking rifles that are short barrel, putting suppressors on them, and putting the new Burris BTS 35 Gen 3 thermal scopes on them. They're way better than anything you've ever seen before, right? And we have them sighted in so you're like a laser beam to 300 yards. So it's point blank. And we're going to set up steel plates before the thermal session, and everybody's going to get a chance to sit down behind a gun and actually shoot, like 50, 100, 200, 300, shoot these steel plates after dark with a rifle that's suppressed and outfitted with a thermal scope. Now, why, right? Well, look, in Oregon, it's a little known thing. In Oregon, it's illegal to hunt coyotes at night with a thermal. I'm like, honestly, it doesn't make any sense to me other than they're worried about people confusing them with wolves or something, But in a lot of the surrounding states, call it the rest of the free world, you can hunt you can hunt coyotes at night with a thermal scoped rifle. Yeah. And until you've done it,
it's fun.
Oh my goodness. I mean,
I've done it in Oregon, but you didn't hear me say that.
Yeah.
Well, on a golf course, it was quite awesome, actually.
Yeah. And but there's another need for this. We have a lot of cattle producers in the valley, a lot of livestock, whether it's sheep, cattle, whatever. If you are protecting your livestock, you can run a thermal scoped rifle. But it has to be in defense of livestock, right? You have property. And, I urge everybody to reach out to your local law enforcement to verify that. But I have been told that it is completely legal, and I encourage anybody who's a livestock producer to go get a thermal scoped rifle. And because if you think that coyotes and other critters come out at night or during the day, you got to see what happens at night. They all come out at night. Yeah. I mean, and the reality is that it's the most effective way to watch over things. And remember, I mean, and I've said this a number of times, in this area, when you're east of Highway 97, the wolves are no longer federally protected out here, all right? We're in phase 3.
97. Right? Which one's Highway 97?
From like Biggs Junction through like down to Bend and K Falls. East of that highway, we're in phase 3. And that means if you catch wolves in the act of biting, chasing, harassing, if they're depredating, shoot them, all right? You don't have to tolerate it anymore. You don't have to take loss. And you don't have to worry about persecution of law enforcement. I posted that video. I was there with Oregon State Police, Union County Sheriff's Department, and the Oregon Department of Fish and Wildlife. They came out, they investigated it. I helped them haul the wolf over the fence and throw it into the back of the ODFW truck and they hauled it off. I wasn't ticketed. I wasn't harassed. It was really not a big deal. I thought it was very simple. Did it take a minute of my time? Yeah, who cares? If we don't start teaching these wolves that they're going to get shot, you know, because they're never alone, right? You might only see one, but there's another one watching somewhere. If you don't start taking care of this business, then it's a problem. But yes, if you get a thermal scoped rifle and you learn how to operate at night, number one, you'll want to watch over your livestock every night. Because you see so much more after dark than you could have ever dreamed.
Yeah.
But number two, you're going to eliminate some or all of the predation or depredation on your livestock, whether it's sheep or cattle or you're working dogs. You know, getting out there at night could probably, you know, save you some loss, no doubt about it, and you'll have some fun while you're doing it. So,
now, how do the thermal scopes work? I mean, I've seen social media or videos where, you know, people are shooting coyotes or at night.
Yeah, I've got really good friends in like Colorado and Kansas, and like I said, other free states that aren't, you know, suppressing their hunters and conservation. But it basically is like the difference in heat, right? That's why, like, right after dark, the ground and the animals don't stand out a lot from each other because the ground is still hot. Now in the wintertime it's different because the ground's cold and the animals are always warm, right? Like in the summertime, your trees are still warm. They'll glow white if you're on like the white hot setting. The trees are white, the animals are white, you know, the grass is white. It's not as clear cut, but if you go at like 1 o'clock in the morning, the ground is now cool, the trees are now cool, the animals are bright white. So it basically is like heat. It just distinguishes the difference in heat. In fact, if you look at an elk in like July, a bull elk that's got blood in his antlers will just be bright. But if you look at one in November, you can barely see the antlers at all.
A lot of people get thermal scopes mixed up with night vision. It's not the
totally
same
different.
It's a completely different. Night vision involves light. Thermal is using is picking up the radiation.
Yeah, like your thermal scope won't pick up a green laser, but a night vision scope will pick up green laser. So
interesting.
Yeah, big difference between the two.
It's just a processor that translates radiation into a thermogram. That's how.
Yeah, but not only that. Remember this: with a night vision, like night vision goggles, you might see 50 to 80 yards. With the thermal scope, I'll see miles.
Yeah,
I can see a mile at least.
Yeah, and it sticks out too because it's it's a way different color.
I use the white hot setting a lot instead of like the red and blue settings. I like the white hot because the animals just.
I'm colorblind, so
just pop out.
Oh yeah, I love it.
Interesting.
Yeah, so I'm going to do a full session with those, and the people who RSVP for that will get a chance to shoot and field test and see exactly what thermals are, and we'll reinforce the regulations around the use of thermals in Oregon, but we'll also educate them on other states you can go to because other states around us, they welcome people coming with the thermals to do a little predator hunting.
So how do you keep the targets warm? How do you keep
They'll just stay warm. Yeah, they'll be fine. We'll be able to see them against the ground up there in late September. No matter how bad Dodsey wants September to be 80 degrees to the end, inevitably it'll get cooler. And by that last weekend in September, I'm sure that by the time we go after dark, it'll be like 60 degrees, 55 degrees. The metal will hold some heat for a while.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we'll be able to see
That's only 2 weeks away, like less than 2 weeks away.
Yeah. Yeah, it's coming up fast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's but yeah, and those scopes are so clean. I can actually, on paper, I can see the grid on paper, which in the Gen 1 thermals I couldn't. In the Gen 3 thermals, I can actually see the 1-inch paper grid. So seeing a plate downrange is nothing.
Don't quote me on this, but Oregon, it must be, you can protect your livestock and your property because like I said, I'm pretty sure we were doing it legally on a golf course, and we were shooting because they were tearing up the golf course. I mean, literally.
Yeah.
And then
coyotes.
My father-in-law has a farm in between Lebanon and or my ex-father-in-law, Sweet Home, and he sits out there with a suppressed 44 mag with a thermal scope on it at night and shoots nutria.
Oh yeah,
which are tearing up his farm. I mean, that's
like I said, I definitely always encourage people to reach out to your local
Yeah,
law
so you
enforcement.
know,
Yeah,
right?
so
Yeah,
you know,
so you're
but-
not just going out there
Yeah,
flinging.
but I will tell you right now, no one's going to cite anybody for protecting livestock.
I don't
Yeah.
think so.
No
or
way.
or your property.
You know,
I
property.
mean,
Yeah, it's like why would you ever stop somebody from protecting their livestock
well-being,
and
yeah.
whatnot? So, but yeah, the use of thermal scopes it's fun
It's so
and
fun.
effective, very
It's
effective.
so fun. It's a whole different world.
How many years ago did you do that?
That was, I've been back here for 8, so that was probably like 10 years ago. 9
The
years ago.
technology between
Has it
10 years
changed
ago
a
and
lot?
now it will blow your mind.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm gonna
it's
have to check that
it's
out.
it's incredible, to be honest with you. Yeah.
We had a lot of fun, dude. We literally sat on the porch of the clubhouse
Yeah.
with our, bipod.
Yeah.
It was
We're shooting
wild.
groups on paper with a thermal scope at 300 yards. That we have these like 3.5-inch diamonds on paper, and we're putting them in those diamonds with a thermal scope. That's how
crazy.
good the optics are.
Do you think,
Wild.
is it, I mean, can you do that better with a thermal scope at night than you could with a day? I mean, with a regular scope?
Well, we do them during the day.
Right. I mean, yeah. So there's no necessarily accuracy advantage. It's just that, although stuff just pops out. I mean,
Yeah, you can use them during the day.
Yeah.
It's like, but it's just more fun at night.
Yeah.
I mean, I know some people do use them during the day because it still picks up the heat.
Yeah.
Sometimes something might be kind of camouflaged down there and you're just running across and, whoa,
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Oh,
Yeah.
there is something down there.
Yeah.
Yeah, you could. I mean, I don't have a thermal, pair of binoculars, but I know people that, down in Mexico when they're hunting Sonora, guides will run thermal binoculars down there to see animals on heavy cover, and it's very effective. I don't think it's legal in Oregon to run thermals literally at all.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, like at all. I don't
I
think.
mean,
you-
it kind of does give you a little bit of a.
Well, it definitely gives you an advantage. I don't like the fact that they made the rule so that we couldn't hunt predators at night for sport, because it's a great conservation tool to be able to limit coyote numbers, and it just would have been good for for coyote control.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In our state they also outlawed having like those coyote tournaments.
I
Les Schwab used to have one,
I
and
did the one here in Oregon twice before they outlawed it.
Yeah, I mean they outlawed having a tournament for like two-man teams would go out and
Yeah,
see how many
over a
coyotes they
weekend you
would
shoot
get.
as many coyotes as you can you had to stay
great
in the
prize
state.
packages and everything. I mean,
Crazy, yeah.
And they made it, and they outlawed that. For what reason? Like, for what reason other than just anti-hunting, anti-outdoor community, behavior from our game and fish
I think they were
department.
trying to save the coyotes for the whoever gets to get up in the airplane and shoot them out of the airplane or the
No, they
helicopter.
don't even do that here anymore.
They used to out at my uncle's house
They
all the
used to.
time in a little prop airplane. He'd get up there.
Yeah, they used to. They don't anymore. And I mean, it's just, I don't know. Hopefully we get maybe some change in our state in the years moving forward. That's why I encourage the livestock producers to turn in all of their wolf. Like if you have a calf or a sheep or whatever, that's down and you suspect it's wolf predation, call the
Turn it
Oregon
in.
Department of Fish and
Yeah,
Wildlife,
yeah.
get them to come out and certify it, turn it in. Every time you see a wolf around, turn it in, call it in. Help them document how many wolves there are, and then if you get certified wolf loss, I sit on the Wolf Compensation Committee for Union County. Thanks, Matt Scarfo, for nominating me for that extra job duty. Great commissioner, by the way. I think there's too many cattle producers that are like, well, it's not worth our time, or, oh, we're not going to get anything. If you get them certified, go through the trouble of getting ODFW to come out and investigate it and write it up. If it is a wolf loss, they'll sign off. Our local biologists are really good guys. And if it is a wolf loss, they'll document it. And then at the end of the year, fill out the paperwork. Get it turned in on time. When we vote on it, I've never sat down in a room where we did not vote for and gavel in compensation for loss. We get money in the pool and we spend it, and we make sure that those people who take certified loss, we make sure they get compensated for it. But if you don't do anything, you're not going to get anything.
Well, and did Oregon pass that law where, I can't remember if it passed or not, where the compensation is like 4 times what it has been because of the stress on the herd, and I mean some of those.
No, I haven't heard that. But in fact, I think at the end of this year we lose in years past. I'll give you an example. I mean, this is getting kind of deep, but in years past, I can say like our cattle producer for like 20 years hardly ever lost an animal. In fact, the only calf I could ever think of he locked itself in an old shed that was out there and died inside the shed.
Your cattle producer, I mean, they use
the
your
guy
land.
who leases
Yeah.
the Ponderosa,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
We never lost anything. Then all of a sudden there's a year where he's like missing 8 calves at the end of the year. The next year he's missing like 4 calves at the end of the year. The carcasses are not found. If you're not out there like running down every last little carcass constantly, and I mean, it's hard on the mountain. It's not easy to find all these carcasses. You're
Right.
talking about a vast landscape. And at the end of the year, you have undocumented loss, right? Which is disappearance, you know. Before the wolves hit the landscape, the number was this big. After the wolves hit the landscape, it's this big. We felt like there should be some compensation for those producers because it's pretty obvious to us where the loss came from. We did an amazing, no, I shouldn't say amazing, but we didn't instantly just get aliens abducting our
Right,
cattle in the
right.
middle of the night, right? So as the wolves hit the landscape, the undocumented, unrecovered loss was higher. And so we've been able to have some form of compensation, not full, but there was some form of compensation for them. That ends at the end of this year, thanks to our wonderful state leadership. And it's just a shame. I mean, we live in a state that, you know, and I'm trying not to be political about things, but the leadership truly doesn't care about cattle producers, ranchers. They don't care about, you know, big game numbers or hunting or any of that. They truly don't care. And it's not anything that they're passionate about. It's not they live in the concrete jungle, whether it's Salem, Eugene, or Portland. These things don't impact them on a daily basis. They don't come out here and live it, you know. And honestly, if you think about like who our governor is, right? Do you think our governor cares this much about Union County, Oregon? No. They don't care about Wallowa, Union, Baker. That's not where their votes come from.
Yeah.
And we need better leadership that considers the entire state and the vast, I guess, the vastly or greatly different needs of the different communities and personalities. And, our state's very different
Right.
from region to region. And I hope that someday we get leadership that looks at all of us for who we are and the regions we're in, and we get governed for everybody instead of just one, call it the Keep It Weird community down there. So,
Yeah, no, and I grew up in Wyoming and hunted my whole life and stuff, and when we moved here in '97, you know, I was determined to, my son wanted to hunt, and so I kind of dove into that, back into that activity, but it was only a few years before I figured out that the whole hunting thing was rigged from the standpoint of they were happy to take my money, they were happy to give me a spike tag, but the reality is that we all know that you very seldom see a spike, let alone harvest a spike, you know. And so, and at the meantime, you're collecting this money, and
Sure.
and you know, and I figured out pretty quickly that, you know, they're using those funds of hunters to support a lot of their other activities, and I just didn't want to be a part of that.
Yeah, ODFW's funds have to stay within the Oregon Department of Fish and Wildlife. All right, they can't move those funds around,
Right.
but maybe wildlife management that we don't support. I will say this: when I look at like the early '90s, like 1989, 1990, 91, they went to spike-only regulations in some of these Northeast Oregon units for a reason.
There was a lot of spikes back then, too.
Well, no, I mean, when they enacted it, you couldn't find it. There was places you just couldn't find elk. The elk numbers were way down. They wanted to still have a hunting season so that people still went in the woods, but they had to give elk that made it through that year a chance to get age and maturity and start breeding, you know, the cows. And now the elk populations are moving back up, and Now we've got more stable herds. We've got, things are better. I actually hate the spike-only tags. I'd love to see them abolished entirely right now, but that doesn't mean you turn it into a free-for-all on branch antler bulls, because in today's world of social media, if someone saw a giant bull over in XYZ over in the honey hole, everybody in the world would go there and there wouldn't be an elk left there, right? So you still have to have a draw. But in Oregon, just, I guess, balance this out. Yeah, you can choose to hunt or take a spike-only tag, let's say, in a particular area. But if you want to hunt for branch antler bulls, the entire western side of the state, not all of it, but most of it is over-the-counter branch antler bull tag. There's cow tags for in the valley, the depredation tags. Vast areas where you can get it, if you buy this over-the-counter tag from August 1st to November 30th, your tag's valid to hunt for a cow elk. And the whole time you're doing those tags, you're accumulating preference points for, it takes like 3 or 4 years to draw a Catherine Creek tag, branch antlered bull, 5 years to draw a Starkey tag, branch antlered bull. You can draw a tag to hunt the Minam Wilderness every year for a branch antlered bull in first or second season or archery season. There are a lot of hunting opportunities for those that peel back the layers of the onion and look at it, and we really do have an incredible hunting resource. Like I said, would I love to see spike-only tags abolished entirely? Yes. I'd love to axe that program right now. I'd add some more cow tags to make up for those tags. I'd increase the number of branch antlered bull tags and limited draw units by a bit. Maybe open up like a special muzzleloader season. There's lots of ideas that I would love. If somebody ever bothered to ask, I would literally type out for them what I thought would work. And I would love to see a 6-point restriction put on these limited draw units, or at least a 5-point restriction. And let these animals get age on them. Let them, but don't. We have elk dying of old age in the Mount Emily, Walla and Wenaha units. Old age. Well, that tells you got enough bulls. Let's, at least to me.
Yeah.
So, anyway, there's some tremendous hunting opportunities out there for people who pull back the layer of the onion and say, oh, I don't have to be upset that it takes me 20 plus years to draw a tag to hunt the Mount Emily unit. We're not the only state with units that are managed for super trophy quality. Yeah. All the states have have that. So, yeah.
So one thing we've talked about quite a bit is with climate change, fall is later. Winter, snow is 2 weeks later. It seems like consistent. Yeah. And so, but the rutting season is still the same.
Some years yes, some years no.
Yeah,
but in general, yeah.
But the hunting seasons, they haven't changed at all.
No.
Yeah, and
I don't think the hunting seasons are wrong. Partly because, I'll tell you what I've seen more and more. I see, this year, the last week in August, we saw bulls with cows that, last year, it was the 1st September. Seems like as your populations are bigger in some areas, not every area is benefited, the same as others. You have bulls that start gathering cows because cows will start coming into estrus in late August, but they'll come into second and third cycles clear into late October and into early November. And I've seen incredible rutting action in elk in the first week in November. Oh my God, did I wake up in September? What's going on here? And then I've also seen mule deer rutting in late October and into December. So I don't think there's a set, it's going to happen between this time and this time. Mother Nature spread herself out a little bit. So,
what has our deer population taken a dive because of cougars? Is that kind of no? Or
look, predation's one factor. Here's when people ask me about mule deer, I don't have a popular answer, and I'm going to get a middle finger from 100 people for saying this. Okay, the reality is that the answer is not something people want to talk about, all right? Number one, mule deer have 4 enemies, all right? And remember this, habitat trumps most everything, right? If you have great habitat, which we do not, deer will do well. But white-tailed deer are an enemy of mule deer, right? Mule deer are the softest species of big game animals I've ever been around. They're soft as baby poop. Honestly, everything impacts them. Funny enough, they'll come into town and live in your backyard, but if they are up on the mountain, they don't want anything to be around them. They spend all day, thinking about where they're going to bed down that night. And then if something bumps them from their bed, they get nervous and upset. And then they just get displaced. White-tailed deer, not good for mule deer. If you want mule deer to get back, on your landscape, make sure you kill as many white-tailed deer as the Game and Fish Department will let you. Pound them, get rid of them. I wish ODFW in our region would pick an area and give out like unlimited rifle whitetail tags and let us just obliterate whitetails. There's plenty of whitetails in America. It's the #1 most hunted big game animal in North America. Why do we need them here? It's not a conservation thing for us anymore unless we're trying to save mule deer. Let's shoot the crap out of the whitetails. Number 2, man, is this going to ever make Jake Sievert mad, but I truly believe that if you overgraze or you graze cattle in mule deer country, you displace mule deer. I'm not a big fan of excessive grazing, or I shouldn't even use the word excessive. I think mule deer will be around cattle, but they don't want to be around cattle. I want people to start looking at amending their grazing habits and policies. Once again, people are going to hate on me for saying that because we have a lot of great cattle producers locally. We graze cattle. We've scaled back our cattle grazing for a reason. I'm studying this. I'm watching a big study that's going on in Wyoming by a private group right now that has a lot of acreage, and a lot of what they're showing me leads me to cattle. When you have a bunch of cattle grazing on property, the mule deer is placed. They've got collars on a lot of things. The next couple of years will be very telling, but if that study comes out and gets released, a lot of cattle producers aren't happy with that data. But what's the happy medium, right? I'm not saying stop grazing altogether. I'm just saying we have to come up with management strategies. Fire. We are so intolerant of fire. When a fire starts, everybody panics. Oh my God, there's going to be a fire. Trees are going to burn. It's the end of the world. Fire's natural, all right? We have been far too effective. Our firefighting resources over the last 50 years have gotten so good. When we think it's out of control because we've been suppressing fire too well for too long, and the landscape is paying for it. Remember I said habitat trumps all? Let it burn. If it's in a roadless area and it's not impacting homes and lives and infrastructure and whatnot and travel corridors, let it burn. Fire's natural. Mother Nature cleanses herself. Let the landscape burn. Let it come back on its own. My God, if we don't start becoming more fire tolerant and understanding that there is a firefighting, like we've heard people talk about like the military industrial complex. The wildfire industrial complex is pretty massive. We have fires burning in places and they're like, put the bombers on it. Yeah, $25,000 a run. Let's burn up piles of money, and resources, dropping retardant on a fire that we should let burn. Go way out in front of these fires and put in some containment lines, sure. But let these things burn. Let them cleanse the forest because we have too much dangerous fuel on the landscapes across the West. And there's millions and millions and millions more in acres that haven't burned for decades because we've become fire intolerant. Okay? And then the final one is, I think we have too many elk. I think we have too many elk in places, and elk and mule deer don't coexist as nice as everybody likes to think they do. And as sportsmen, we're greedy. I'm greedy. I want maximum numbers of elk. I want all my mule deer back. I want to be able to have it all, but you can't. It's like you can't have domestic sheep and wild sheep in the same landscape. They get disease. They have problems. We can't have it all. We can't have all the elk. We can't have all the mule deer. If we want mule deer back, we have to start managing for mule deer. Otherwise, we're not going to have mule deer 100 years from now. And I applaud ODFW for saying, hey, we're going to start tracking mule deer, and we're going to change the units up to being different than they are, and we're going to do hunting units based on where the deer live the entire year rather than where they are part of the year and where we're counting them parts of the year. Great. That's just the tag numbers. Now let's start talking about the landscape. And how can we manage the landscape better so that we have better browse for them, so that they're healthier, they don't have the malnutrition issues. Let's manage the landscape so that they don't have herds of elk pushing them out. They're not competing for browse, they just don't want to be around them. Once again, it's weird to me because they'll come into town and lay in your backyard and eat your flowers. They'll watch you garden as they walk by on the sidewalk, but when they're up on the mountain, they don't want anything around them. Town deer are like desensitized somehow, but up on the mountain, they don't want anything around them. And I feel like if we want mule deer back someday, we're going to have to start managing certain landscapes specifically for mule deer. It's hard to tell ODFW that because elk tags are twice the cost and value as mule deer tags are, and they're far hardier animal, like whitetails. It's easier for them to manage for whitetails than mule deer, because mule deer are like cockroaches. You can drop a nuke out there, and there'll be two animals left on the planet. There'll be whitetails and cockroaches. They're just tolerant. They're strong species. Elk and whitetail, they're easy to manage for. Or whitetail, mule deer are not easy to manage for, and I think it's something that's just going to require conversations that people don't necessarily want to have.
Interesting.
There, I said it out loud. Everybody can hate on me now.
So let me ask you one other thing before we quit, and that is, so I mean, a lot of what you do, I mean, what you do for a living is private hunts. You take people with funds to private lands.
Or public.
Right, yeah.
There's some outfitters operating public lands.
Yeah, but talking about, so the average hunter out there, they're not going to pay for a hunt. They don't have that money.
Sure.
You know, what is your advice for them? How do they succeed?
Well, look, first it comes with like research and getting off the couch. Okay. Don't be the hunter that sits on the couch all year complaining about things, getting whatever tag it is that you're getting. Don't do any pre-scouting. Don't spend any time at the range. Don't be prepared physically. Don't be prepared mentally. Don't pre-scout the game. Don't make sure your weapon's proper before you go in the field. If you don't know exactly where that bullet's going to hit, don't squeeze the trigger mentality for me. If you're going to be the average hunter that goes in the field, if you want to be successful, once again, pre-scout the season. Get in good physical condition. Make sure that your rifle's tuned properly, it's sighted in properly. That's why we're going to have that September 27th thing. Watch the animals. Get some hunting buddies. Make game plans. And then don't just drive around in your truck.
Right, yeah.
Get out of your truck. Use the hunting skills that your father and grandfather and great-grandfather used to be successful in the mountains. And if you do choose to ride around your truck at the end of the season when you haven't seen anything and your tag is still unfilled and you're pouring ketchup on it, don't whine and complain about not seeing any animals, right?
Yeah.
If you want to be successful, dedicate yourself to being successful, even if it's just a little bit. Not everybody has unlimited time to spend every Saturday on the mountain glassing and hanging trail cameras and going to the rifle range, but put forth some effort. Mm-hmm. But that's where it really starts for me, is the number of people who don't do anything and just walk into the woods expecting for deer and elk to fall out of the sky for them. That doesn't happen, right?
Yeah.
You might get lucky once in a while, but the reality is you've got to get out there and put in the work if you want to be truly successful. And number two, research. Research, the Oregon Department of Fish and Wildlife has population statistics, all of that. Figure out what units to hunt to have the best, population numbers for the animals that you're wanting to pursue. Is there a tag available? Make sure you're putting yourself in the right areas to give yourself an opportunity to be successful when you put forth the effort.
Cool, good. And somebody can walk into the ODFW office here locally, and I mean, for a while, yeah, okay.
They're open, yeah.
Okay.
They're a state of Oregon, state employees. There's somebody at the front counter all the time. I'm not saying a biologist is always there. Right. Field work.
Yeah.
But you can go there and speak to somebody and ask questions, and they'll do their best to answer that question properly.
Yeah. Cool. And they're on the corner of Geckler and 20th, right? Is that what that?
I think that's 20th. Yeah, they're just right on the edge of Geckler.
Yeah.
No, good people down there. Honestly, we have really good people here on the local level.
Yeah. Well, Steve, thanks so much for coming, and yeah, it's always a great conversation.
Well, sometimes it's an uncomfortable conversation to have with, when we talk about things that maybe aren't necessarily a popular topic, but I hope all the good popular stuff outweighs the unpopular stuff.
Well, I mean, clearly you have a lot of knowledge and experience, certainly an opinion. Which, but it's an informed opinion, so I really appreciate it. So
we do our best. So, and once again, September 27th, I really want people to turn out for that. But remember, it has to be RSVP'd. Get a hold of Carl down at Oregon Trail Trader and RSVP your spot in either the morning, afternoon, or the evening session, depending on what you're wanting to do.
And the public, unfortunately, it's not an event public can just show up to, right, and watch.
No, it's behind gates.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
And I'll go into this on Facebook later. I'll go into the comments and I'll put
Yeah.
that phone number for Carl in there. So.
It's already there.
Oh,
Yeah,
you
I
already
think-
did?
yeah,
Oh,
he-
thanks, Doug.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I put the link to the webpage.
Oh, cool. Okay, very good.
To
Very
the
good.
Grand Raffle and put
Yeah.
stuff
Yeah,
up
'cause
to the actual day.
Yeah,
2025.
definitely reach out and RSVP. We'd
Range
love
day.
to have everybody out there. We'll do our best to help everyone.
Well, cool. You know, a number of years ago, they used to do a machine gun shoot up in Enterprise.
I heard about it, but I never went to.
Oh man, it was the most amazing thing. I mean, I don't know if we could ever get something like that going, but it was just it was, I mean, of course, the people brought their machine guns that have the correct certification to get that and stuff, but still, the public could come and they would watch, and you could pay $20 and shoot an Uzi, and I mean, it was a very cool thing. So anyhow, all right, man. Hey, you want to get out of here?
Let's do it. On this day, September 16th, 1858, the first overland mail in California. 1869, golf's first recorded hole-in-one is scored by Tom Morris at Prestwick's 8th hole in Scotland. 1920, the Wall Street bombing occurs at 12:01 when a horse-drawn wagon explodes on Wall Street, killing 38 and injuring 143. Could you imagine it being 1920? Like, think about the 20s, right?
Yeah.
And a horse-drawn wagon just rolls up and blows up. Like, you're like, what the heck?
1920. That was a roadside bombing.
1920 on
IED.
Wall Street. Yeah. Like,
IED.
what the? 2021,
1920.
researchers announced the discovery of bone tools at the Contrabandiers Cave in Morocco, dating between 120,000 and 90,000. That doesn't make any sense, but 120,000-year-old bone tools found in Morocco. It's the earliest evidence of humans making clothes. These tools were used to make clothes.
Not to interrupt, would that be considered domestic terrorism back in 1920?
I mean, I would think so, unless they weren't domestic. 2024, American soul mogul Sean Combs is arrested and charged the next day with sex trafficking, racketeering, and transportation to engage in prostitution. He's still in jail. His trial's not over yet, I don't think. The number one movie in America on this day in 1995, Seven, with Brad Pitt and Morgan Freeman. And then the quote of the day comes from John Sinclair: "Failure is a bruise, not a tattoo." One more time. Failure is a bruise, not a tattoo.
Did you see Seven?
I mean, I'm sure I
Man,
did, but I
that's
don't
one of those-
remember
that's one of
it.
those movies
Is it
that-
the Seven Deadly Sins movie? Or
Yes,
that,
it is, but it's
okay.
a movie. It's like you really only need to see it once. It's just like, I mean, really, Kevin Spacey is the bad dude in that, and man, he was really good at being bad. So anyhow, hey,
He's
thanks.
really good at being creepy, too.
Yeah, he is. Thanks, Steve. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
And we'll see you guys Thursday right here. Mark Browning, president of Blue Mountain Community College, will be right here with us.
See ya.
See you soon.